Hello again, I am Blunty, and for a while now I've been thinking about, planning about maybe putting together a video or a series of videos around products I got sent for review but didn't wind up making a video about for one reason or the other, either because of performance or quality, or they just plain didn't work, or there was some sort of frustration in setting them up, or maybe they just weren't good enough to be able to tell you guys, yeah, go out and buy them, this is worth your money. I prefer, when I do a review at least, to make a video about a product that is worth recommending. Otherwise, I'm just making a video about, hey, this thing is crap, this is why it's crap. You don't need to know that, you just need to know it's crap. It's more useful to make a video about, hey, this is a product, I like it, it's worth spending your money on, and here's why. I find that a more rewarding experience for me personally while making the video, rather than being one of those reviewers whose whole gimmick is just to hate on something. It's very, very common in video games, if you hadn't noticed. But in putting together a list of various products I still have sitting around that fit into that category of things I was sent but never did a video about for whatever reason, usually because they're too crap or not worth recommending, was this. This does not fall into those categories. This I actually really liked, but the reason I never got around to making a video about this is, well, let me share it with you. This is the ATEN USB-C multi-port dock with power pass-through, built specifically with MacBook Pros in mind, specifically the MacBook Pro 13-inch. And I'll show you why that is in a moment. It's not like you can't use it with other things, you sure can, it's just a dock, but it's specifically designed for the MacBook Pro 13-inch because of one particular reason, but we'll get to that. But in the 3 or more months that I've had it now, I've been unable to review it properly, or unable to produce a review of it more specifically, which has had me feeling pretty guilty because the PR peeps who sent it to me in the first place are usually pretty damn good to me and getting stuff to me on a timely fashion and coming to me and say, hey, you want to look at this? Hey, you want to look at this? Hey, you want to look at this? And they're good people and I don't like disappointing them. And my lack of video review for this product they sent me, for them to then show their clients, probably has them, and probably their client as well, kind of annoyed at me and cranky at me. And I don't want them to be annoyed at me and cranky at me, number one, because, like I said, I like them as people. And number two, if they're cranky at me, they're probably less likely to send me other cool stuff to look at. Well, he's unreliable. Don't trust Blunty with your stuff. I don't want that. I don't want to be that guy. Unfortunately, I am that guy today. But let me explain why I couldn't make a video about this, and it has nothing to do with the product itself. See, during my testing period, before I took any video of it in use, while I was still checking it out and using the thing to make an opinion about the thing, the device it needs to attach to become more useful than a very awkwardly sized paperweight, well, it blew up. And I do mean literally blew up, as in expanded in size dramatically and alarmingly. And did so until it didn't work anymore, as in my MacBook Pro, the machine that until this disaster was my primary work machine that I used day in, day out, all day long, had one of those worst case scenarios that can happen to any laptop, but especially laptop these days with their integrated batteries, had its batteries fail. And when I say fail, I don't mean, oh, they're a few years old and they don't hold a charge anymore. I mean failed in that nasty and potentially dramatically fiery doom flavour of dangerous, the way that lithium-ion batteries do sometimes. And it swelled up so dramatically that it broke open the metal casing of the MacBook. And before you ask, yes, I have since removed those batteries and disposed of them in a responsible manner, which is no easy feat considering when it happened, the entire universe was on lockdown and finding a place that was open to accept these kind of dangerous batteries for recycling or proper disposal was extremely difficult. I want points for that. I made the effort. God damn it. Don't throw your lithium-ion batteries in the regular trash. You'll kill a trash man or something. It's a very bad idea. I'm serious. So since then, I've been using my desktop Windows machine to get my work done, which is not my favorite thing to do. It's much more powerful than my MacBook, sure, but I really prefer Final Cut Pro X over DaVinci Resolve, which I have been using. Nothing wrong with DaVinci Resolve. Very, very powerful, but I'm just so much faster and better and more efficient in Final Cut. So I miss my MacBook a lot. But before my MacBook blew up, I was very impressed by this. So let me tell you why. Let me do a kind of post-mortem review, I guess. The bit about it being specifically made for the MacBook Pro 13-inch comes down to the way it's designed to fit neatly under it, right down to having little indents for the non-slip feet on the MacBook Pro to sit in and locate in. It, of course, has 4 of its own grippy little feet on the bottom to make sure your notebook still stays put, and the slight angle it props the keyboard up at about 5 degrees, I think, is very nicely ergonomic. It plugs into a USB-C port, of course, because that's the only port you'll find on these MacBook Pros, but it does give you that port back again. and allows for full power pass-through, so you can connect your power supply to it and your Mac will charge as normal. At least until your MacBook develops a severe battery fault and ruins your day and your week and your month and 3 months and life. And because YouTube is being a bastard these days about the algorithm, help me fight against it by the way, comment, like, subscribe, thumb, all that kind of stuff, and ad revenue is down even though they're running more ads than ever before, and although I have some fantastic and awesome and generous and kind Patreons to help support me throughout all this, it's not nearly enough to afford to replace my MacBook Pro or even have it repaired. And when the fault first happened, again, we're on lockdown, so I couldn't even take it in to get repaired, even if I did have the money, which I didn't. It happened like literally the worst possible time. Well, I guess it could have happened on an airplane. That would have been the worst possible time. But who's traveling right now anyway? Elsewhere on this dock, though, it is richly featured. You get both full-size and mini SD card slots. Very, very handy if you're a YouTuber, of course. There are 3 USB 3.1 Type A ports, and the one at the end supports fast-charging devices up to 1.5 amp, so that's nice. You've got a hardwire network port supporting full gigabit Ethernet, a display port, a HDMI port, and if you're a business drone still using meeting rooms that have ancient projectors that need VGA ports for some reason, it has one of those too. For me, this little bugger is quite nostalgic. Oh, look at it. A VGA port. Little D15. Oh. Useless, but nostalgic. Oh. If you use the HDMI or display port alone, each one can support up to 4K. If you use both together simultaneously, they'll give you 1080p per screen. This is just basically down to how much data can be squirted across that cable in the first place. It's not quite enough for 2 4K signals. Oh, and while we're on that, the HDMI port and the VGA port, they're mutually exclusive. You can only use one of those at a time as well. So, but speaking of retro, actually, with that VGA port, on the end, there's another little retro port there. Remember these? It's a headphone port. Oh, how quaint. Headphone port. Oh. The whole thing is built, like the Mac itself, from aluminium, or if you're American, aluminum. Really? Americans? Really? Aluminium. Say it with me. Aluminium. In either case, it makes it very, very robust and solid and sort of weighty feeling. It's all very, very pleasant. And of course, a good style match for the Mac as well. It is easily the best hub-like device I have used with my MacBooks over the years, and because Apple is the way they are about putting ports on their MacBooks, even though they're designed for pro use. I do and have used quite a lot of docks in my time, and when I say this is the best one I've ever used, I mean it. It is the best one I've ever used, both ergonomically and sort of the way it's festooned with every port you could even need, and both memory card, SD card slots, it is, yeah, easily the best. It's just a shame I didn't get to use it for very long before my MacBook died. Hopefully, by the time I can afford another MacBook, there'll be a new model out, and it will be approximately the right size to be able to sit on this so I can keep using it. Fingers crossed. It's Apple, so who knows? One of the big things I liked about this is the underslung design. Most of these kind of docks you get for your MacBook, and I think I might have one here somewhere. Nope, I've put it away somewhere. But they kind of dangle off the edge. They're just a little lozenge kind of thing with ports all the way around the outside. You know the type. I like this one because it did sit under the MacBook, and that means all the ports came out of the back, which means all your cable mess went out the back, which makes my desk a lot tidier than it was when I was using one of those ones that just squirted out the side. So that alone makes this one of my favorites. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to this effort to produce some kind of review for this. I had to get something out eventually. So I hope you enjoyed it as far as, well, maybe this is useful to you. Maybe just enjoyed it for the sake of the story about my Mac going, nope. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you especially to those patrons, even though there's not enough of you to help me buy a new MacBook. You are helping tremendously, and I love you for it. Thank you ever so much. All the names are up there. To the rest of you, if you've commented, thumbed, liked, subscribed, all that sort of stuff, thank you extra. To those of you who've watched the video and haven't done any of those things, well, thanks for watching all the way through at least.